they are producing artificially scarcity in order to make the people believe that they will have to comply, that they will have to adapt themselves to the system. They have to be slaves to the system in order to have at least a small piece of these resources. And on the other hand, they are being squandered. They are being thrown away. It is all artificially produced scarcity. So this is an obvious fact, and therefore we need equal money in order to provide everyone an equal basis of resources so that everyone can live on this planet. This is common sense. This is obviously common sense. We are all made of the substance of this planet. We are made of the life that this planet is, and we can live equal to each other's with this planet, with the resources of this planet. It is impossible. It is impossible that there is a scarcity, that you are being born out of this planet and made out of this planet, out of the substance of this planet, which is life, and as the physical, and then there wouldn't be enough for you to provide you with the things that you basically need to have a living, to have a life on this planet. This is impossible. So it requires belief to think that this was the case, that there was something like natural scarcity, and that we would need an artificial system like the money system, mind-created money. The value of money is mind-created. It is made up in order to have power over people, and in order to abuse and exploit people for needs and desires that are absolutely mind-created, unnecessary, and that create suffering, and that represent themselves as absolute pure madness. So, and to say you always have a scarcity of time before you die is, from a certain point of view, right, because we only have this one life in order to adjust ourselves so that we prove ourselves worthy of life, so that we prove that we are standing as one and equal with life, and that we are not mind-directed abusers of life and of the physical. So this is right, but there is life, always life, and it is only scarcity for the personality. Again, it is just made up scarcity. It is just an artificial scarcity that is produced by the ideas, by the thoughts, which are not real. Continuing to say that this is bogus and just a utopia and fantasy is a very common try to defend one's own artificially made up reality and one's own view at the world. It is just nonsense talking. There's no substance behind it. Just to say this is utopia. Sure, for you it is utopia as long as you do not dare to change yourself and dare to face the fact that you have the chance to choose. You are the directive of your life, and you can choose whether you go on abusing for the sake of your mind-created personality, which is not real, which has no substance, which will simply vanish and no longer exist when your body dies, or if you choose to stand with and as life, as equal with life, and you stop the abuse and the exploitation. And then there is infinite living. So there is no scarcity of time then, because life is always. And next he's trying to take common sense and to make common sense of a sort of individual sense. So he's actually saying that common sense has only then a value if it produces what you want, and this is totally misunderstanding of what common sense is, and therefore there will not be an understanding here as long as one does not realize that common sense is something all equally as life can rely on and can agree upon. So this is simple. It is simple as that. So So take away what you require as a living organism, and you will see what common sense is. So continuing, he is unfortunately completely mixing up all the information he seems to get out of uh, cross-reading the material, whatever. I don't know where he's getting his information about. He's simply spitting out accusations that have no basis whatsoever. But he is talking about energy and how Destiny talks about energy, and then he's talking about transferring a person into energy. I don't know what he's talking about there. This has nothing to do with the message of Destiny, and that multidimensional reality, what he's talking about. Then he states that we have a one-dimensional reality because we exist as mass, and then he's talking as mass, and then he's talking about this mass was the personality, which is again absolutely wrong. The personality is the mind. This is not the mass. The mind is made up of thoughts and memories, and creates of thoughts and memories the personality. And in your conscious mind, you think yourself to be that personality, but in fact you are what you say, the mass, as the physical, as the body. And this is what you exist as, and not as the personality. So here's the total mixing up of things. Therefore, no argumentation and nothing to get from it. Even that energy he's talking about is obviously he's not knowing what he's talking about. What is this energy that transfers out of us after we are dying? And this is all just superficial chit-chat. There's nothing in it, and this is very harmful if you and abusive if you talk like this. You don't research anything. You just pick out some things that fit into your polarity, into your thinking of polarity. You try to make a competition. You try to compete with something that is made up by yourself. So when you're talking about Destiny, when Sabbath96 is talking about Destiny here, he's not really talking about Destiny, but he's talking about what he's making out of it, what he is thinking about it. So, and after all, I don't really get what the point is here in accusing a group of people that stands together and that shares where people share their process openly, in the open, accessible to anyone, and to create a world and a living that is best for all, where everyone will have the equal opportunities to have a dignified life here on this planet, because we all have, obviously, common sense, the right to have this. So I don't know, I don't get what the message is here when people are trying to discredit other people or a group of people that is trying to do something. Nothing in secrecy, everything openly accessible for everyone. And the only reason to do something like that is to feel oneself superior to all others, to think that oneself is able to think for others, and obviously one is trying to brainwash people when one tries to discredit a group with a video like this. And in the worst case, you don't even know what you're talking about. You simply pick out some points, take them out of context, and try to make up a figure, an enemy figure that isn't even real. It isn't real as your own idea of yourself, of your personality, isn't real. And no one will ever perceive you like you perceive yourself as a personality. Never. This will never happen. So you can struggle and fight as long as you want, as long as you wish. There is no substance in it. There is no value in it. So it is only a try to deceive people. To deceive people, because when you don't understand something and you feel maybe you feel attacked in your worldview, you try to deceive other people to see this group or this ideology or this idea, this material as an enemy. So when you have people around you that agree upon this, then you think you're on the safe side. It is again, it's the same ego game like always. There's no substance in it. It is just nonsense. So what is following in the end of the video is not mentionable. It is simply accusations, discreditation, made up ideas. He's talking about trances, and as if Destiny was about trances or anything. He's taking words, slogans out of context, and he's trying to form something out of it. It is simply not mentionable. It is abusive. It is deception. What he's trying to do here. So what I want to say is, if you see a person that is trying to discredit another person openly, you always should be suspicious about this person, because what is going on in most of the cases is that here is a large ego problem of the person. The person is not able or not willing to challenge him or herself, to question his or her own life and values and ideologies and ideas, because there has been an impact or anything that he or she perceives as an attack on their own value system, and that in itself is an indication of that something is wrong and something should be questioned about one's own ideology, personality, and values. But this person will not stand and will not have the will and the strength to stand this and to face oneself in self-honesty, because this is a huge step one has to take, and most of the people fear that, and therefore they fear this other person or this other group and what they are saying, what they are standing for, and therefore out of fear comes the hate, and out of the hate comes the aggression, and one tries to discredit the other person or the other group. So you always have to be suspicious about this, because everything is about self, and the person that is sitting here and talking about Destiny has a huge problem with himself or with his own values, because there is no other reason for doing such a thing as producing a hater video that is simply there in order to discredit others. And this is obviously here, as it is being outlaid by my video here or by other videos. Do your own research whenever you have watched this video or my video. Do your own research. Investigate for yourself. So this is what Destiny stands for. Think for yourself. Yes, it is all about self. Stand for yourself, and you will see that you are standing equally to all life, because there is nothing else, or everything else one thinks himself to be superior or inferior, whatever, to other life forms or to other life, is made up, is of the mind, and this is obvious. And this generates all the problems and all the suffering and all the scarcity and all the abuse and exploitation in the world. So this is obvious. So here's nothing to hide at Destiny, so everyone can do one's own research and come here and see for yourself. So don't believe in anyone that is trying to discredit or to accuse others. There is no use in that. It is nonsense.